What's up, guys? Caleb Maddox here. Welcome back to YTA. I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Devin. What's up, bro?
Hey, what's up?
Dude, getting to learn from Devin. That's what I always tell people. It's like getting to learn like basketball from Michael Jordan. That's what it's like getting to learn YouTube automation from my man, Devin. So I'm excited about this one, especially because, Devin, I feel like this is one of the most important ones, one of the most vital parts of the entire YTA process, which is choosing your niche, as well as one that I know people are looking the most forward to. Because like when people got a part of YTA, they'll send me messages like, hey, I can't wait to be a part of this. And awesome, what do you want to learn? And one of the number one things they always want to learn is this, which is choosing your niche, because it's a very important part. And like one of the analogies we always use with YTA is that YTA is like real estate. Well, if YTA is like real estate and like you uploading videos is like doing real estate, then the niche you choose is kind of like the location you choose to buy real estate in. So it's a very important decision you're gonna be making.
Yeah. And one thing I really want to say before we jump into this is I made a huge mistake when I got into YouTube. I did YouTube for a year and I learned everything inside of the rest of this course. But the one thing that I messed up with was the niche. Whereas if I started with the niche first and I did that first before I learned everything else, I mean, it really helped that I knew everything else. But if I did that first, I would have been able to get so much more results way faster. I would have saved so much time. I would have saved so much money, so many like 3 a.m. nights trying to record videos. Like I would have saved so much time. Oh, if I did this one thing correctly. But it took me a year to learn this. And that's why this is really important.
And
like this is going to save you a lot of time.
Because they're in the YTA Masterclass, they're going to learn this stuff that you learn within that year, but they'll have the niche beforehand. So they're going to have a with all of the other stuff as well, which is really, really exciting. And, I'm excited because I just want to give people results. I know it's the same thing with you. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the 5 keys to choosing your niche. I'm telling you what, like, I know people who are just starting out and they have no clue anything about a niche. If they do these 5 things, they're going to pick a niche that will work. And that's a massive advantage. And that's our goal. We want to give people that slight edge, that one thing that if someone else is creating a faceless channel, gives them the edge that makes them even bigger, makes them make even more money, and gets them even more results. So let's go and get into the 5 keys to choosing your niche. I know the first one that we wrote down was choosing a niche that has massive room to scale. You want to talk about that real fast?
Yeah. So the thing is, before I jump into any niche, is I really want to make sure that like other people are getting results, because I don't want to be a pioneer in anything. At least especially when I'm getting started, because if I'm pioneering stuff, that means there's going to be a lot of obstacles in my way that I'm going to have to try to figure out. Whereas if you find someone that's already literally done exactly what you want to do and they've pioneered everything for you, they figured out what the problems are, you could just figure out what they figured out, what they were able to utilize and what they were able to use for success. You can just copy, like you can figure out, replicate what they did, and you don't have to re-pioneer anything. So we want to really take the guesswork out of all of this.
One of the things that someone I'm really close to, his name is Russell Brunson. One of the things he always told me is he said, you can always tell who the pioneer is because they're the ones that are laying face down in the dirt with arrows in their back. Meaning they're the ones who pioneered, so they're the ones that made the mistakes and messed up and had to figure out the wrong things. So if you look at someone that has a massive channel, they're getting a lot of results, they probably have tried a lot of niches beforehand. And at the end of the day, you can only learn from experience, but that experience doesn't have to be your own, right? So like, I feel like looking at niches that have already been proven to work and going to niches that have a lot of results for a lot of different people. And one of the things I think is important to think is like, if I got 1/10 the result of the top people in this niche, would I be drastically happy? And if the answer is yes, then that's a great niche to be in. And not only just a niche where there's people with millions of subscribers, but a niche where there's people that are brand new to that niche and they're still getting a lot of views and they're still growing, because you don't just want to get into a niche where there's a lot of massive accounts or a lot of massive brands. You want to get into a niche where there's a lot of room to grow and you can still get into, but at the same time, the people at the top are getting a lot of views and there is that room. Because in the day, you don't ever want to give yourself a lid. You don't want to be the reason that you have a lid and can't scale. You want to be a niche that's super, super small and the people at the top are not getting that many views, because if the people at the top are only getting their most viewed videos are getting 1 million views, well, if you do half as good as them, that's only 500,000 views. But if you're in a niche where they're getting 60 million views and you do 1/10 as good, that's 6 million views. You know what I mean? So like, you really got to choose a niche that there's a lot of room to scale with, which I think is really, really important. And one of the things that we're going to show, Devin, is we're going to show people how to actually find OPC, which is other people's channels. So in that entire section where you learn like actually how to find it, it's going to show you how to go and search the niches that are getting the most results and kind of the ones you want to jump into. And also one of the things we're also going to do is we're going to link below in the resources a link for them that you put together of the top niches that you recommend, which is pretty cool as well.
Yep. So you guys are literally, it's like we're taking the guesswork out of all of this for you guys. So you can literally just really learn from the failures that I've really like messed me up the most, and you're really going to save yourself a lot of time.
That's
So
the
yeah.
That's why people are in this, man. They want speed, and that's what we're trying to give them, getting them to where you're at, but quicker than you got there, because they're going to be having your experience, obviously. So, like the second thing that I think is really important when you're choosing your niche is making sure, especially when you're first starting out, that you have a low barrier to entry. Like one of the things I notice when people try to jump into niches is they try to do these super complicated channels that have all these animations and take hours and hours of editing. Like when you're first starting out, I think it's very important to make sure when you enter, it's a low barrier. It's simple to create the content. Can you talk about that, bro?
Yeah. So what you want to make sure is, as much as possible, is that like you can make the content yourself, and not only can you make the content, but you can make the content better than anybody else in the niche. And I know you're probably thinking, Devin, like, I don't think I can make content better than like PewDiePie or something like that. We're not asking you make content better than the top creators out there. We're just trying to find someone that's getting results, that's like doing like that they know less than you, and it's pretty apparent because like you watch their content, it's like low quality BS or something like that, and you're able to yourself be able to go out there and do it. Or we could easily hire people that are going to be able to do way better than that one person. So the lower the barrier to entry, the easier it is for at least you to get into it. And then we want to raise that barrier, but we just want to find something that you can at least replicate yourself and get the same exact results.
Yeah, dude, that's really important. I feel like also because a lot of people in this, they're not obviously there will be some people that are going to be, channels with faces, and there's going to be some that are doing faces channels and they're creating it themselves. But a lot of people, they're going to be automating it. And like right off the gate, they're going to be having team members and people creating the videos for them. And if you have a low barrier to entry where the content doesn't take hours and hours and hours to do it, that means it's also a low cost to entry. You know what I'm saying? Because in order to create those videos, it's a lot more simple than if there's hours and hours of editing and you have to pay people per hour for those. But if it takes someone an hour or two to get your video done because those videos are simple to create, then you're cutting your costs drastically. You could be spending, less in a day than you would usually spend in a week with one that is a high barrier to entry. So that's super, super important as well. It's just like finding a niche that you can look at and say, this is simple. And if you're debating between two niches and like you're not sure which one to go with, choose the one that you feel you could get a team to create those videos the absolute easiest. Because there's a lot of niches where to create the content isn't very difficult. In fact, there's some real like diamond in the rough type niches to where someone can literally create your videos in an hour. Now, obviously it's not going to be for everyone, but when you're going through the niches, make sure to look at what videos look the easiest to create. That way, when you're hiring your team, you can get them to do those and it costs you way less up front. So good stuff, bro. Number 3, don't choose low CPM niches. Because like one thing, by the way, Devin, is a lot of people want to know what are the high CPM niches like that they can get into. And real quick, actually, before we even get into high CPM, low CPM, can you explain very simply what CPM means and what it stands for?
So CPM, what it means is cost per mil, which I think it's a Greek word for 1,000. So basically what CPM is the cost that you're getting paid per 1,000 views. So let's just use some rough numbers. Let's say that you're getting a $4 CPM. So you're getting paid $4 per 1,000 views. So if you get like a 1 million view video, then that means that you just made $4,000. So you just divide 1 million by 1,000 and then multiply it by 4. So 4,000. So that's yeah.
But CPM is just how much you get paid per 1,000 views, right? So like if you choose a niche where it's $10 CPM and then one that's $5 CPM, you get the exact same 1 million views. But if the $10 CPM, you're getting paid double because like the CPM. So like CPM is a very important thing you're going to be choosing, because if you have a high CPM versus a low CPM, you could be getting less views, but you could be making more money. And a lot of people don't know that about YouTube. So it's a super simple thing. We're going to be talking about how to raise your CPM and all that stuff. But I think one of the important things is like, at the end of the day, if you choose a good niche, you're going to have a high CPM. Obviously, there's some CPMs that are higher than others, but the real important thing is just not choosing a niche with a super low CPM. Like, what are some niches that are like low CPM you don't want to touch?
Yeah. So the low CPMs is really anything that has like an audience where it's more of like a passive experience. And the passive experiences is usually in those of like music or something that's like they listen to when they're about to fall asleep, or something that's just background. What you want is active viewers that are actively engaged into your content. And as long as you have that, you're not going to have a low CPM.
That makes sense. So like what would be a niche that you're talking like what you fall asleep to, like a fan noise, right? Like
yeah. So like fan noises, music, like really music, like anything that's just like based around sound. It's not really visual as
That makes sense.
much. It's more like a sound experience and a visual experience. With the visual experience, it'll like, and it's the focus is on the sound. Like those CPMs are just going to be like trash. Like you don't want to mess with them unless you have some like weird opportunity where it's like you can get 500 million views in a day, which probably won't happen.
If you have like an educational video, that means people have to listen to every single word to learn what you're saying. But like you're saying, like if it's something where people just listen in the background, they're not really focused, then obviously you're gonna get paid less per view. And like, let's break this down simply, because by now people are watching this, they just watched a video earlier that talks about how YouTube pays them. So they understand the entire thing about advertisers and how advertisers are the ones that are technically paying the money, and YouTube's the one that is kind of the mediator between those two things. So like, think about it logically. If there's a high CPM, which means you get paid more per view, what's that mean? Well, it means in that niche, advertisers are willing to spend more money for every single person that watches their video, right? So like, think about it, like let's think about it simply. If you have an advertiser who's running an ad before a video that's passive, like he said, like music, well, the advertiser knows you're probably not paying attention that much to the video. So that view, them looking at the advertisement, is not worth as much money because most likely they're not paying attention, which means that they're not gonna get paid, right? But then you think about someone who they are gonna pay a lot per view. Like let's think about someone like a doctor. They're selling this really, really expensive thing, or like a lawyer, they're selling this really, really expensive thing. And if someone's actively watching a video really, really close, and it's about, some sort of medical thing, and it's a doctor, the doctor's willing to pay a lot of money because that person's focused on the video and it's inside the niche that doctor's in, and like that person will probably be interested in having a doctor. So I feel like that's a really important thing to understand, is like why some niches have higher CPM versus lower CPM. It just comes back to the advertisers. So like in the business niche, for example, right? Because like I'm in that niche personally, like with my YouTube channel, and I have a lot of friends that do that. The business niche has really, really high CPMs because people are willing to spend a lot of money to get their products in front of business owners because business owners have money. But then there's other niches that are like, maybe like a kids niche. Like it's like little kids. Well, kids don't really have credit cards, so the CPM is gonna be a lot lower. So like understanding not just what a high CPM niche is or what a low CPM niche is, but understanding why it's a high CPM niche and why it's a low CPM niche is important. And it really comes back to—
and one thing that I found too inside of it is as long as it's not music and stuff like that, any channel, you can actually grow their niche by these strategies that we're talking about. Like this bit, like what Caleb just said, breaking it down in simplistic forms, understanding your audience. That's honestly like $100,000 advice right there. Because if you can figure out how to just like make your audience a little bit more active and engaged, even though like the content's usually not very high CPM, you can like double your CPM.
Wow.
Potentially triple, because I have people in some of my niches, they're making like 3 times more money than me, and I'm working with them, we're breaking it all down, and that's what we're finding is they're taking this audience and they're just like they're getting them way more engaged. They're just getting these people to like actually watch the videos and like actually care about the content. So then the people are clicking on more ads, watching the video longer, and engaging way more on content, and they're able to, the CPMs just are able to do a lot better.
So you're saying you have people in the exact same niche as you, but they're either making more or less because the content is either more or less engaging?
Exactly.
That's fascinating. And like, I feel like that's an important thing.
Even
like,
though we're getting the same amount of views too. That's what's crazy. We both have 5 million views. I'm making like 12K a month and he's making like 40K a month.
Wow. Because his viewers are really engaged.
Yeah.
See, that's important. It's like not just understanding the what, but understanding the why. Because when you understand that, not only now do you just have one dot, but you can connect that dot to even more things, right? So like, that's a really, really important thing for people to understand, is like why there's high CPM, low CPM. And throughout this entire masterclass, people are gonna be learning how to drastically raise their CPM. Here's the important thing. Let's go back to the basics because we're talking about a lot of stuff now. At the end of the day, CPM stands for the amount you get paid per 1,000 viewers, and that's gonna be determined based off how much advertisers wanna pay to be in front of your videos. And the importance of that is not being in a super, super low CPM niche, but at the end of the day, if you're just in a niche that's not a low CPM, it's just a normal CPM, which we're gonna link below. You can look through them and just pick one. If you pick one of those niches and you get your viewers really, really active, it's gonna be a high CPM niche. So super, super good stuff. Okay, the fourth thing I wanna go and cover on choosing your niche is making sure that it's easily monetizable. This is something I notice a lot of people mess up. Go ahead and share about that, bro.
Okay, yeah. So one of the biggest issues that I see with most people is the niche that they're getting into is they're gonna have the biggest amount of headaches and the most amount of like the worst experience with YouTube trying to monetize this content. Whereas if they just like spent their time and energy on something else that is easily monetizable and everyone's making money on it, they would be able to just have way less problems and be able to make way more money way faster and have a lot less resistance. So what you really want to make sure is that your content is easily monetizable. You watch the content, and when you're watching it, you have no doubt in your mind that this person is like copyright claimed, or they're doing something against the community guidelines or something like that.
Let's pause and kind of jump on that real fast, because someone might be like easily monetizable. They don't know what that means. Basically what that means is this: like at the end of the day with YouTube, right now people watch this, they understand what monetization is. So that's not really a struggle. You have to understand that YouTube, if you put copyrighted content in your videos, YouTube will demonetize or lower the amount you get paid per video. So one of the things that's important is when you're jumping into a niche, choosing a niche that there's not going to be a lot of copyrighted content in. So like, what is copyright content? It's any content that you do not own. So like if you're playing a really popular song, the analogy you use is like Eye of the Tiger, right? If you're playing Eye of the Tiger in there, which I love Eye of the Tiger, I'm definitely saying I can't put in videos, but in the, day, that's not my song. So if I have that in my video, I'm gonna get demonetized, which means I'm not gonna get paid at all for that video, because YouTube doesn't want me to get paid for other people's content. They want me to get paid for my content. So when you're choosing a niche, make sure to choose a niche where you don't need a lot of copyrighted, in fact, really any copyrighted content whatsoever. So like if you're choosing a niche where, let's say it's like you're posting TikTok videos, right? The super viral app where like people like lip sync and do music. Well, most of the TikTok videos in that niche have copyrighted music in them. So if you're gonna be taking that content and re-uploading it to YouTube, that's not a good channel to be in, because at the end of the day, I mean, obviously there's ways to get around it, but at the end of the day, you're gonna be getting constant monetization strikes and copyright strikes. That's gonna turn off your monetization because you're using copyrighted content. So like, I know Devin, you're really big on that. Like, dude, like share kind of like just basically like what is copyrighted content and like why it's important to like completely avoid it.
Yeah. So copyright content, like just as Caleb said, really, it's just like something that somebody else made that you're using. Technically, that's copyright unless you have the rights to that copy or that content. So what you want to really make sure is just like you're just giving yourself the least amount of risk as possible. It's not necessarily like you upload a video, like you upload a 2-second snippet of a video, you're going to get like all of a sudden like your channel's terminated, deleted off the face of the planet. No, that's not what happens. What happens is just like you're just not able to make as much money. So you just really want to make sure that as much as possible, like you don't have the chances of the copyright claim happening, which we're going to break down. Don't worry, guys. You don't need to really understand copyright right now. Just like we're going to help you guys go around everything, give you all the tactics, strategies to like use other people's content. It's just when the whole channel is around somebody else's name or image or like branding, then that's where you're probably going to run into issues. Whereas if it's like a 7-second snippet for like one video out of hundreds that you've made, it's not necessarily a problem. So you want to figure out as much as possible. Like I would rather you make a video about turtles than about, let's say, like a channel around Elon Musk content.
Okay. I was
like
saying
turtles isn't like a specific name person.
Yeah. Well, like even for example, like we were just talking to someone who wants to jump into the gaming niche, and that's great and all, like especially if it's gonna be your own content. But if you're just gonna be repurposing other people's gaming content, like you're gonna go to Twitch and download that content and re-upload it, well, that's their content. So there's a really good chance if they watch your video, and this happened to me in the past actually, if they watch your video, they're gonna be like, wait a second, this is my content. They're gonna strike your video, and YouTube can say, sorry, we can't monetize this because it's not your content. So there are ways, and by the way, like I know what we're saying right now, there's a lot of stuff that we're kind of diving into because we haven't really gotten to get into like the real details of YouTube. Like we're gonna get into how to avoid putting out copyrighted content, where to find non-copyrighted content if you have used copyrighted content for any reason, how you kind of tweak it a little bit to where you don't get struck. But the main thing is when you're choosing a niche, don't choose a niche or choose a channel where the only way it works is if you have to put in copyrighted content. That's basically what we're going with this. Make sure it's easily monetizable. Long story short, we're gonna be diving into like what makes copyright content, all that stuff. So don't worry, we're gonna make sure to simplify everything for you. Just want that to be an important overview before you go all in with a niche. Okay, so one extra thing we wanna go ahead and add in is kind of like a bonus. This isn't like something that really is like one of the 5 keys of choosing your niche, but it's like an important thing that Devin has talked to me a lot about. I feel like it's a good thing that we kind of wanted to bring up, which is choosing one that you're passionate about.
Yeah, so one of the biggest problems that I see with people getting into YouTube is they want to make money, which isn't a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. Like money is a good thing. It helps change a lot of things going on inside of your life. But if your only focus is on money, then that is a big, huge problem, and it's gonna really make things difficult for you. This needs to be something that you're like at least like a little bit excited about every day, so that way you have motivation on the days that really do suck. Because this is all rainbow and sunshine, but there are definitely a few days where it's like you got to do things that you don't really want to do, and that comes with anything. But if it's something that you like somewhat are like interested in, like let's say that you love mountain biking, you'd probably be happy doing anything remotely related to mountain biking with your career. You would probably love that, especially if that's something that you do every day as is. So I would really recommend for that person that loves mountain biking for them to make something around mountain biking, I would hope. Like just something like using, like even if it's just like biking in general, or even like dirt biking, or just like something to do with like whatever that you're like remotely interested in. So that way you have an excitement to do it. And then I think the most important part is you have a good understanding of like the terminology, you understand like different things, and you don't have to do a lot of research to make this content yourself, or to like talk to someone else about it. If you like really know about a topic really well, then it's going to be easier for you to just like go to the right websites. Like you already know the best websites to get research from. You already know like the most expensive mountain bike to buy. You know the cheapest mountain bike to buy. You know the best trails in the world probably. You know probably like the different cultures inside of mountain biking. You understand mountain biking. So what I'm saying is if you have something that you're already passionate about, try to see if you can do like a little spin off on that, and make it into something that's extremely outsourceable and automated in the future as you start to grow everything.
And one of the reasons we put this as a bonus is because it's not like a vital thing you have to do. Like you don't have to create a channel that you're passionate about. Now, if you're the one creating the content, this is way more of an important point. Like if you're the one that's editing the videos and you're the one that's in front of the camera, which most people aren't going to be, because this is about automated channels, but obviously there's some people that are going to be in front of the camera. If you're in front of the camera, you want to be passionate about that thing because you're going to have to talk about it a lot. If you're the one that's going to be editing the videos and you're going to be sitting in front of a computer for 12 hours straight, putting out videos and creating them yourselves, you're probably going to want to be somewhat passionate about it because you're going to get burnt out really fast. Now, for those of us who we're going to be automating the channel, we're in this because, listen, what we're more passionate about is going and living a lifestyle that we want to live. And the way we're going to get that is by obviously money, right? Like for us, it's not like about money, but at the same time, we're doing this to make money. Now, choosing something you're passionate about, although that's preferred, you would obviously want to choose something you're passionate about because you know about it. You're going to be more motivated to research. At the same thing, it's not vital. So this is just like a suggestion that we would recommend. Choose something you're passionate about. But if you're going to be automating your channel, at the end of the day, you're not going to be the one that's spending even the most time on it once it's completely automated. But in the beginning, obviously, if you can find something that you are passionate about, if you can go and you love football and you can create a channel around that, you're obviously going to do better. You're going to do better because you're passionate about that thing. If you were going to tell me about one of your channels, like Devin, like one of the reasons you started that is because you were just intrigued by it. And now that channel has reached millions and millions and millions of people. So it's a suggestion. Once again, you don't have to be passionate about your niche because obviously some of you guys, you just want to automate this and make passive income with it, which you can use that to spend more time with your kids, or you can use that to travel the world. And it's like, I don't care if I'm doing videos about, silly putty, or if I'm doing videos about, about hammers, or if I'm doing videos about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, as long as I'm making money, I get to live the lifestyle I want to live. I can respect if you're coming from there. But for those of you who have a passion that you can like be thinking, what am I passionate about? It's like for me, I'm super passionate about impacting kids. Well, like I could do an automated channel that's kind of like about like lessons to kids, like that could work. Or like I'm passionate about business. So like I could do a channel where, for example, maybe like it's an entire channel where it just compiles information from billionaires and I have someone narrate, kind of talk about the best lessons from billionaires. For me, I would love that because I'm able to now profitably learn from billionaires. Like I'm making tens of thousands of dollars a month learning from billionaires. So choosing something you're passionate about is a fantastic thing. It's not a necessity, but at the same time, it's a great suggestion to add in there. So real quick, guys, let's go and recap. And then Devin, if you have any other things to add in, we'll go and do that. But here's the deal. You're choosing your niche. I know we've said a lot of things in this video. Let's simplify it down and really hone in, because one of the things I believe in is simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. And a lot of times on videos, people try to throw as much information as possible to sound intelligent. To me, I feel like the most intelligent thing we can do is say it in a way that's like simple for even someone who's completely starting out. Here's what, if you're trying to choose your niche, here's what you're gonna do. Number one, go below in the resources and look at the niches that we already recommend and start to do research on them. Once again, we're going to show you how to find OPC in a later section, and I actually how to go into YouTube, how to search, how to go by view count and find most popular. We're going to show you how to do all that stuff, but use OPC. Go into YouTube and search some of these niches that we recommend, as well as maybe branching out and like use these maybe not even as, if we say WWE, doing WWE, maybe use that as inspiration to go search also UFC and see how that kind of goes. Like, use these things that we're going to be giving you as inspiration and see which ones are the biggest and have the most room to scale. Like, look at them and say, if I were to add my channel in there and had millions of subscribers, would it make sense? Because if there's a niche and the most subscribed channel is 100,000 and you're jumping into it and you think you're going to get 1 million, I'm not saying it's not possible, but I'm saying if your goal is to create an automated channel and you want this to be passive, it's going to be a lot more work trying to pioneer it than it will just going into something that's already working and where there's already people getting results. And then also try to find people that are just starting out that are already getting results in that niche, because it shows you there's still room to grow. Number 2, find a niche where there's a low barrier to entry. Make sure that the content you're going to be creating isn't some difficult, crazy thing. Like, if you're choosing a niche that's like life lessons while skydiving, like, you're not going to want to do that, because you're going to have to go skydiving every single day to film a video. Obviously, that's an extreme example, but I'm just giving an example of, like, you don't want it to be a crazy thing. You don't want it to be a cartoon. Make it to where, like, you feel like you could do it on your own. That way, if you are going to automate it, it's so much more simple and it costs way less up front. Because when you're first starting out, maybe the more you go and the more you advance, you're going to start creating a little bit more complicated videos, because that could really make a lot more money. But when you're first starting out, you want the lowest barrier to entry, because low barrier to entry means low cost. Number 3, don't choose a low CPM niche. Choose something where you feel like people will be actively watching, and at the same time, think about advertisers. Like, what companies would be willing to spend the most money on ads, and use our high CPM niches as inspiration for that. Number 4, choose one that's easily monetizable. Don't choose one where you're gonna have to use a lot of copyrighted content in order to make it work. In fact, choose one to where if you never had to use any copyrighted content whatsoever, it would work, and then it's just gonna be that much easier. And as a bonus, if you can choose one you're passionate about, that's obviously gonna be the best case scenario. And I feel like that's it, bro. Like, I feel like if they look at the list and they start doing their own research and they continue to go through the masterclass, by the time they're done with this, they're gonna have full clarity and no problem whatsoever choosing a niche that works for them. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, honestly, yeah. Just as long as, like, you have this this kind of like filter that you filter through with any channel that you ever start, it's gonna save you tons and tons of time, and it's gonna make you way more money in the long run if you really try to, like, filter these through and make sure that you're doing this right, so that way you can get the most results possible the fastest.
Yeah, for sure. And guys, this is a super important decision. So don't forget, one of the things that my dad always taught me was there's more that's caught than there is that's taught. And a lot of times you'll watch something, you'll be listening, and you'll hear what's being taught, and you'll, like, pick up some things. But I would encourage you guys, watch this video 2, 3, maybe even 4 times. Go through it a few times and see what Devin said. Because, like, Devin's a master, right? Like, Devin's a master at what he does. There's things that'll just barely slip out of his mouth that he'll say that gives a lot of insight of the way that he thinks about YouTube. So I'd be watching these videos over and over and over again. And personally, I'd be going through the entire masterclass 3 times within 1 weekend. That's the level that I had obsessed, and that's the level it's going to take in order to really create a YTA. Okay, awesome, guys. We'll go ahead and see you guys in the next video. Okay, so you just watched the video about choosing your niche where me and Devin went back and forth talking about kind of the 4 keys to choosing your niche. But now I kind of want to hop into the end of this video and just get a little bit more into the nitty gritty to kind of show you how you can find and research niches. Because obviously I don't just want you to look at one thing on our niche list and just choose that niche. I want you to do your research and figure out which one fits the best for you. Now, obviously below this video, there's gonna be a link to this exact list right here, which is the list of profitable YouTube niches that we recommend you guys. And there's all sorts of different options. Number 1, that you can choose a model, or number 2, you can use for inspiration. Maybe you're gonna do something off of this, but you're gonna kind of like let it, like, go down the rabbit hole. Like, a lot of people go down the rabbit hole of YouTube and they just find themselves watching random videos. Go down that exact same rabbit hole, but don't watch random videos. Rather be learning from YouTube. Like, it's like kind of like the number 1 way that you're gonna learn how to play football is by throwing or catching a football. Like, that's how you're gonna learn how to play, is you play. And it's the same thing with YouTube. You're gonna learn YouTube by being inside of YouTube. So now that you're part of YTA, YouTube is your new best friend. Being inside YouTube is your new best friend. So I wanna show you guys the very basics of how you can research niches and figure out which one's the absolute best. So I'm gonna go and look at the list of profitable niches, and I'm gonna sit here for like maybe 30 minutes to an hour, and I'm just gonna be doing research on all sorts of different ones like this. Now, obviously for this example, I'm only gonna research one, but if I were you guys, I'd research as many as possible, because this is a very important decision. You don't just wanna search, choose the first one you see. You wanna choose which one seems best for you. So let's go and use a random example like life hacks, right? What I would do is I would go ahead and copy the word life hacks. I'm gonna go over to YouTube, and it all starts by searching your keyword, okay? That's it. You just search the keyword for that niche. Now, obviously, what's going to pop up is what YouTube recommends. It's going to pop up video from 4 hours ago, video from 1 day ago. That was actually great because it's 1 million views. Video from 2 days ago. It's going to pop up all these videos, but I think it's kind of sporadic. It's more recent videos, but it doesn't like show the most popular, and it's not the absolute best way to know about the niche. The best way to do that is to go to filter. Guys, you have to understand, with doing YTA, the filter on YouTube is your friend. This is my favorite feature on all this, on all of YouTube, is the filter, because it allows you to see whatever videos you want to see and allows you to research the absolute best way. The filter is your friend. Like I feel like I should create like a hoodie for everyone in YTA that just says, the filter is my friend, because like that's how much of a friend it is to you. So you're gonna click on filter and you're going to sort by, and you're gonna want to go to view count, because you want to see the most popular things in your niche, because whatever's going the most viral is making the most money. So you're gonna go to view count, and it's obviously gonna pop up all the most viewed videos in this niche. Here's the deal. I don't want to do a video from a year ago. I don't want to see what's going on, 3 years ago or 2 years ago. I want to see what's going on now. Like what is happening in this niche now? So I'm not just going to go to filter by view count. I'm going to click on filter again. Yes, view count is still on, but I'm going to go to this month, because I want to see what is trending this month. What is going on this month? And obviously you can see with the life hack niche, it's an unbelievable niche. I mean, this is literally 3 weeks ago and there's 17 million views. If you do the math on how much money that video made, it's unbelievable from one singular video. So obviously I'm gonna look at this. I'm gonna say, okay, they have 17 million views, but I just wanna look at videos. I wanna see kind of like some channels. Like let me click on this. I've never seen this channel before. Let me kind of see what it is. So this channel does, it looks like they do pretty much primarily life hacks, like clothes hacks, recyclable toys, which is like a life hack. So they do all sorts of different life hack videos. And look how viral these have gone. 72 million views, 69 million views, 60 million views, 59 million views, 52 million views, 51 million views. This is the first channel we post on. And what's cool is this is 11 months ago, and you just saw another video that had to go viral this week. So it shows you like, this obviously not only has it worked now, but it's been working in the past. So it's a sustainable niche. And you see that it has millions and millions of views. So let's use the rule that I shared earlier. Let's ask ourselves, if there is, if this video has 72 million views and I got 1/10 the amount of views as this, would I be happy? Well, guys, if I get 7.2 million views, I'm going to be happy. That alone makes your channel wildly profitable, and you're making more money than most people that have entire full-time jobs. So like the 1/10 rule applies here to all of these videos. If we look at subscribers, 5.67 million. If I had 1/10 the amount of subscribers in this niche, that's 500,000 subscribers. I'm going to be happy. So obviously it's a no-brainer that the life hack niche is obviously a large niche where there's a lot of room to grow. One thing I'd like to see is there anyone that's trending in this niche that isn't big, that doesn't have a crazy amount of subscribers? So let's go ahead and see if there's any channels that aren't as big, but they're still getting this amount of views. Because obviously we want to see if we can break into it. Because right now, most of the people watching this, you obviously have small channels and you're going to be creating small channels to start. So let's go ahead and model people like us that are winning on YouTube. Now, in order to do this, what we're going to do is we're actually going to turn off this month, because they don't allow you to search channels by the most viewed this month. So we're going to turn that off. So click X there. And then we're going to go by channel. But then if we look at the most viewed channels, obviously it's going to pop up channels with 12 million subscribers, 65. So we want to turn that off as well. We basically just want to look at channels that have life hacks that are trending now. And YouTube's really, really good at, with their algorithm, showing the channels that are kind of up and coming. So even though it's going to show the channel with 65 million subscribers, the channel with 17, it'll show smaller ones like this that have 22,000. This one's probably doing really good right now. Like, let's just find one that doesn't have a crazy amount of subscribers, but let's do something like this, as 71,000. So that obviously is something that any of us could get to. 71, it's not as crazy as having 60 million subscribers. Obviously, if you have 60 million subscribers, it's gonna be pretty easy to get views. So let's take a look at this channel. 71,000 subscribers. See, this looks perfect. And there's 251,000. Let's sort by popular. Once again, being able to sort and filter is the best thing. Let's sort by popular. And look, you can see, look at this channel. Not even that many subscribers. It's just doing life hacks. It has 4.5 million views on this video, 1.4 million on this video, 1.4 million on this video. It's not even that big of a channel, but it's getting millions and millions of views. Most likely, those subscribers come from these views that they got. So it wasn't that they had a lot of subscribers and they got views. It was that they did these videos and got subscribers out of that. So obviously, I would be looking at the niche of life hacks. I'd be looking at this, I'd be saying, guess what? This is a channel. There's a lot of room to grow. If I get 1/10 the amount of results that the top people in this channel are getting, I'm gonna be happy. And there's other people in this channel that are brand new, just like me, that don't have that many subscribers, that are smaller channels, that are doing the right things, and they're breaking into it as well. So I would say life hacks is a fantastic niche to go into. Now, I'm not telling you that's the niche you should go into. We have 50 niches for you to choose from, and I could sit there and say life hacks. Well, maybe I would also sit there and say, what's another type of thing? I could do, car hacks. So I could look into that thing. You can use these things as inspiration to see if you can find even more untapped into niches that have a lot of people, that have a lot of room to grow, and also have new channels that are breaking into it as well. Guys, that is how to find and see if a niche is a good niche to jump into. And if it meets those 2 criteria, and you follow the 4 steps that we talked about in this video, it is going to be simple and easy for you to choose your niche. but not just choose your niche, but to choose a niche that's going to be profitable, that's going to be easy to scale, that you're going to be able to get a lot of results with. And the final thing I want to go ahead and add in, guys, is understand I literally just pulled one thing off of our top recommended niches. One little thing randomly, which was life hacks. And you already see how many people are winning in that niche. Guys, there's no such thing as like this scarce supply of niches. There's unlimited niches out there and so many that you can get to work. And I feel like a lot of times people think, well, if I jump into this niche and there's already a lot of views, is it saturated? No, there's people that are brand new to niches that have been around for years and they're winning in it. A lot of people think, well, what if everyone in YTA does this niche? But like at the end of the day, we're gonna be all doing different niches. And even if we all did one niche, there's literally 1.8 trillion views every single year on YouTube. And that number continues to increase year on year. Like there's plenty of views to go out there. So don't think to yourself like, there's this scarce thing of niches. Like understand there's so many niches to choose from. And at the end of the day, what you need to do is you just need to choose. And a lot of people overcomplicate this process. Although this is the most vital, one of the most vital parts of YTA, it's not the hardest part by any means. You literally just look at a niche that seems appealing to you, is already getting results, people brand new are getting results in it, and you know there's a lot of room to grow, and you jump into that niche, follow all the steps in the masterclass, and it's inevitable that you're gonna be at the top of that niche by the time you're done. Because as great as all the people in those niches are, as some of them even have millions and millions of views, there's one thing that you have that they don't, and that is YTA.